Part 97.
When in Rome, do as the Romans do. Meaning. A phrase meaning that when you are in a new place, it is best to follow the customs of the people there. Examples. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. When in Paris, do as the Parisians do. When in London, do as the Londoners do. Thinly veiled. Meaning. A phrase meaning something that is disguised, but not completely hidden. Examples. His criticism was thinly veiled. His anger was thinly veiled. His disappointment was thinly veiled. In for a penny, in for a pound. Meaning. A phrase meaning once you have committed to something, you must accept all of the consequences. Examples. In for a penny, in for a pound, I'm going to finish the project no matter what. In for a penny, in for a pound, now I have to finish the job I started. In for a penny, in for a pound, I'm going to see it through to the end. In a pickle. Meaning. A phrase meaning in a difficult situation. Examples. He got himself in a pickle and didn't know what to do. She found herself in a pickle and didn't know how to get out of it. They were in a pickle and couldn't find a way out. Paper tiger. Meaning. A phrase meaning something or someone that appears strong but is actually weak. Examples. His threats were like a paper tiger, they had no real power. The organization was just a paper tiger, it had no real authority. His reputation as a tough guy was just a paper tiger, he was actually quite weak. More heat than light. Meaning. A phrase meaning more emotion than real progress. Examples. Their argument was full of more heat than light. The debate was full of more heat than light. The discussion was full of more heat than light. For crying out loud. Meaning. A phrase used to express frustration or anger. Examples. For crying out loud, can't you do anything right? For crying out loud, why can't you understand? For crying out loud, why are you so stubborn? Straight as an arrow. Meaning. A phrase meaning to be honest and truthful. Examples. He was straight as an arrow in all his dealings. She was straight as an arrow in all her business dealings. He was straight as an arrow and never lied to anyone. Pour water into a sieve. Meaning. A phrase meaning to waste time and effort on something that will never work. Examples. Trying to get him to change his mind was like pouring water into a sieve. Trying to get her to cooperate was like pouring water into a sieve. Trying to get them to agree was like pouring water into a sieve. Cold calls. Meaning. A phrase meaning to make unsolicited phone calls to potential customers. Examples. He spent his days making cold calls. She spent her days making cold calls. They spent their days making cold calls. Not, lift a finger. Meaning. A phrase meaning to do nothing, or to do very little. Examples. He didn't lift a finger to help. She didn't lift a finger to help. They didn't lift a finger to help. All mouth and no trousers. Meaning: a phrase meaning someone who talks a lot but does very little. Examples: he was all mouth and no trousers. He talked a lot but never did anything. She was all mouth and no trousers. She talked a lot but never did anything. They were all mouth and no trousers. They talked a lot but never did anything. No dice. Meaning: a phrase meaning no, not at all. Examples: I asked him if he wanted to go and he said no dice. I asked her if she wanted to come and she said no dice. I asked them if they wanted to help and they said no dice. Neither here nor there. Meaning: a phrase meaning something that is irrelevant or not important. Examples: his opinion on the matter was neither here nor there. Her comments on the issue were neither here nor there. Their thoughts on the subject were neither here nor there. Have someone in your pocket. Meaning: a phrase meaning to have someone who will always support you or do what you want. Examples: he had the mayor in his pocket. She had the judge in her pocket. They had the board in their pocket. Take something lying down. Meaning: a phrase meaning to accept something without putting up a fight. Examples: he wasn't going to take the insult lying down. She wasn't going to take the criticism lying down. They weren't going to take the humiliation lying down. Uphill battle. Meaning: a phrase meaning a difficult task or challenge. Examples: it was an uphill battle to get the project finished on time. It was an uphill battle to get the job done. It was an uphill battle to get the funding they needed. Never look back. Meaning: a phrase meaning to move forward without regret or hesitation. Examples: he never looked back after making the decision to quit his job. She never looked back after making the decision to move to a new city. They never looked back after making the decision to start a new business. Crying need. Meaning: a phrase meaning a very urgent need. Examples: there is a crying need for more healthcare workers. There is a crying need for more affordable housing. There is a crying need for more education funding. Boil the ocean. Meaning: a phrase meaning to attempt to do something that is impossible. Examples: trying to solve the problem in one day was like trying to boil the ocean. Trying to finish the project in a week was like trying to boil the ocean. Trying to fix the issue overnight was like trying to boil the ocean. Like pulling teeth. Meaning: a phrase meaning to be very difficult and require a lot of effort. Examples: getting him to agree was like pulling teeth. Getting her to cooperate was like pulling teeth. Getting them to agree was like pulling teeth. Throw your hat into the ring. Meaning: a phrase meaning to enter a competition or to become involved in something. Examples: he threw his hat into the ring and decided to run for office. She threw her hat into the ring and decided to enter the race. They threw their hat into the ring and decided to join the competition. Today's idioms were: when in Rome, do as the Romans do. Thinly veiled. In for a penny, in for a pound. In a pickle. Paper tiger. More heat than light. For crying out loud. Straight as an arrow. Pour water into a sieve. Cold calls. Not lift a finger. All mouth and no trousers. No dice. Neither here nor there. Have someone in your pocket. Take something lying down. Uphill battle. Never look back. Crying need. Boil the ocean. Like pulling teeth. Throw your hat into the ring.